here.
What's up, everybody? It's your favorite end of an era's favorite nerd, and today we are looking at the Perfect Fusion Cesium, also known as Fans Toys Scoria version 2, also known as Dinobot Slag. And I guess also known as Dinobot Slug these days, but that's neither here nor there. A little bit of controversy surrounding this guy. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the pros and cons of it. We're going to talk about the transformation. We're going to talk about the height. We're going to talk about the comparisons, etc., 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 per usual. But before we do that, we have to look at accessories. At some point, I will swap the faceplate out so it looks more like the animation, but that point is not right this second. And before we move on to accessories, I want to make note that he can hold both very well. However, the wrist is a bit loose. But I've seen some that are more loose. Mine is a bit loose, but it's ultimately fine. There's just like maybe like a 5 to like that spot right there. But you go beyond that and it's fine. This one is kind of the same way. No, this one's a lot better. So disregard last. So let's talk about his blaster. I do have an issue with this. We'll talk about it. It does, I think it has that same light up feature, I would imagine, if you take it apart. I don't know. Yeah, because this is the button to fire it right here. The trigger guard here is way too big, so you can get one finger in there, but then his middle finger ends up sitting like in a safety mode down the trigger guard. And then the ring finger ends up sitting somewhere in between, and then the pinky finger wraps around. So that's a bit of a bummer. It does have a nice silver finish on it, though, and the sculpt is decent enough. This is that translucent plastic to get the gimmick out of it. In my opinion, they should have not put the gimmick in and just made it all this silver. I would have preferred that, but I know why they did it, to keep up with the others. And then, of course, he comes with a sword with a nice red chrome on it that he does hold perfectly. For the first time, I feel like, or maybe Grinder did as well. It took them a long time to figure that out, to tolerance that right, but it seems like they do have it under their thumb now, so to speak. And then we do have this... the translucent, and it does have a battery bit, and it activates and all that kind of stuff. So no issues there. This is really well done. He comes with 2 swap out horns. They're die cast. They're red chrome. They're pretty if you want to go with the more G1 toy look. To continue on with the G1 toy look, he comes with swap out thighs and knees. The thighs are just black plastic. The knees had that little bit of green paint added in. It's a nice thought, I think. It's not for me, but it's a nice thought and it offers that option. He comes with enough extra head pieces to make a whole new head. So he comes with the front plate here, the back plate, the red metallic eyes, and then the flat red face, which I am going to swap out at some point, and we'll take a look at that. And obviously the screw goes in there, and that's how you take it apart. And there you can see the 2 pieces that go onto this peg, and then this goes around it and encapsulates it, and then the screw goes into there. And continuing on with the toy theme, he comes with a replacement swap out for the dinosaur eyes, so you can have the dinosaur eyes be the red metallic as opposed to the blue metallic. So let's talk about the figure. So the head is on a swivel here at the base of the neck, and then the head itself is on a hinge swivel as well. What's cool about this is the plate behind the head constantly moves with the head to kind of cover down on it, and then you get the additional swivel at the head for a little bit of extra attitude. This face option is nice. The blue is perfect per usual, and then the silver face paint added to both the face and the little symbol in the head. It also has the hinge to get you a little bit down and a little bit up. So the hinge is relatively useless, but it is there. You might be able to get a little bit out of it. We have the, almost like mirror chrome here, and then the gold chrome, mirrored chrome there. Moving down, we have this gunmetal gray accent on both sides, and then this silver paint added there, the gunmetal gray there, and there. Waist swivel is ratcheted, and it has an ab crunch forward, none back. And I don't know about you, but if you're going to have one or the other, I'd much prefer the ab crunch forward. So for the shoulders, we have ratcheted universals that get you all the way around to there. And then the ratchet moves here to get you all the way up to 90 degrees. So pretty much perfect, and the joints feel great. Bicep swivel. Single hinged elbow that gets you 90 degrees. Wrist swivel. Thumb is on a ball peg with an additional hinge. No, just the ball peg. Right? Yes. And then each finger is pinned at the base knuckle and the second knuckle. for fully individually articulated fingers with good tolerances. Same for the other side. And just because we've had a little bit of drama surrounding it, I'm going to go through and show you that all the joints are working well, at least on mine. No issues. The wings are articulated. They are a little bit cumbersome. They're a little bit wide too, which is not the prettiest, but you can get up and down and a little bit in and out there. All right, for the waist, you can rotate these skirts up, and then you have universal joints here. They're ratcheted forward and back. Not the greatest range of motion either, but they are ratcheted forward and back and no outward. But that seems to be the new trend because everyone's mad about outward, but the tolerance is beautiful. So no real issues there. Thigh swivel built around the universal. Wait a minute, was that a little fancy squeak? It sure is. This one's much better. Knee is on a ratchet, gets you 90 degrees. Green paint there, and then we have the blue paint here on the shoulder, which we forgot to talk about. Moving down, we have a couple paint accents here on the foot and so forth, and around there, some red, some silver, some gunmetal grays. We have the gold, chrome, etc., etc. For the ankle articulation, nothing really for an ankle tilt down. You do get a slightest bit up, and then you get the rocker. Oh, that's a bit of a bummer. I was hoping the rocker was going to be here, but it's just there. So just the slightest bit of a rocker. It is there, but it's not the greatest. That's a bummer. And then we'll look at the back of the figure for the sense of cleanup. Pretty clean. And there the robots all are together. And I will be honest, like, it kind of makes Snarl seem small, but I'm done. I am all sorts of done. I am happy. Like, I'm not doing a skit today because I'm like, this is good enough for today. It was a major undertaking to kind of get a set of Masterpiece scale Dinobots, both in robot and in dinosaur mode. And I've done it. I feel like I've completed something. I'm taking skit day off. But yeah, that's a good look. It's a very impressive looking shelf. Let's get him transformed. Typical hand transformation. Tuck it up in, y'all. Same for the other side. Be careful of the thumb. Turn the head of the bot by grabbing like the back plate there around his head, and it's a little tricky because it's a little tight. And then flip the Triceratops mouth up. Then push this whole assembly, you'll see it move ever so slightly forward, and flip down the side wings of the crest of the Triceratops. Bring these pieces that are like the red parts of the shoulder all the way down until they're more towards the front of the bot, or the dinosaur, or the bot, I guess, and then bring the arms up. So same for the other side. You're going to rotate here. And it's a little tricky because it's ratcheted, and then move the arm up. Unfurl these pieces here. Now, this has been one of the things that we've seen online with people having issues with. So I'm going to use a little extra caution just to make sure, but I'm not feeling any sort of resistance or anything that would indicate there's an issue, at least on mine. And then you're going to wrap these pieces around. Now, this I will point out, this is a very small peg here. And I think I detect a little bit of a stress mark inside of there. So, and then we'll fit those together. Now we're going to kind of do our traditional Fans Toys unit where we just sort of break all this apart, so to speak. There, that's a little bit of a tight tolerance. Rotate this out. Phew, ball peg. Oh man, I was about to say. So we'll plug that back in. All right, so once again, and then let's see if we can maneuver this around. Oh, okay, that worked much better. The instructions make it seem like you got to flip it a lot more further down, and then you can flip this piece up. Rotate at the knee 180. And be careful as you go to get your leverage to spin it that you're not putting any pressure on these flaps, since other people have had an issue. Keep access to your back piece just remember where it is and kind of keep your eye on it. You're going to need that. Rotate your leg around and bring your tail out, so to speak. And the reason why we didn't do this before is to not give us extra kibble while we're trying to work. But from this vantage point, it is eating me up. There it is. All right. And then we're going to kind of tab all this together. And I would just work piece by piece, because this is where I feel like the design is an issue, is right here, trying to get all of this to tab together. Because this plastic here, the flaps, aren't really reinforced, so it's hard to manipulate them into place. There's one. It's a matter of getting the angle and having the pressure and leverage to kind of plug everything in. There's the other. Bring down and sort of tab in your tail. There. Then we can flip this down and plug it into the back here. And that solidifies everything, and it makes the dinosaur mode look really clean, but once again, it's a very thin plastic for just this section, and it makes it a bit challenging to go around. You see how this unclipped here? So it makes it a bit challenging to get everything together. There. Your last step. Open these up here. Bring the feet down. Spin the toes out. Close up. Same on this side. Rotate down. Feet down. Close up. And we're done. I'll clean them up. We'll take a look at them. And there it is. The horns, I would imagine, swivel. I'm not going to push them because they're kind of in place and I like them where they are. The head articulation is right here. I'm trying to think what is on here. I can't really. Looks like just a swivel maybe. Oh no, because I get an upward movement too. Not much for down. And then the jaw you can get open to all the way to there. The gold looks good. The chrome looks good. The blue eyes look great. For the arms, you get the same ratcheted joints that we had for the robot arms, so no need to really talk about that. It sucks that we don't get a ankle rocker. That's kind of the cost of doing business with these things, but it is something I'd like to see fixed, you know, like in general. Somebody work it out. This back plate, I have a hard time sitting real flush, but it does give it, like, you can see how solid it looks. This has a very G1 dinosaur look to it. And that's so, like, the G1 Slag is not a great looking thing anyway, but this does nail it, I think. You know, I don't know. Ball peg here at the hip, and then you get the swivel there, ratcheted knee here. If you go back too far, it pops out that, so that's kind of a bummer. And then you get an ankle tilt here, but once again, no rocker. So that also kind of sucks. And then a little bit of a tail wag, which is pretty awesome. Yeah, I think it looks good. I think it looks very G1 cartoon. And I will bring out the other Slag for comparison. So there they are. And I got to be honest with you, I prefer this one only because I feel like it looks more like a Triceratops, but this one looks more cartoon, so I get it. But I still kind of prefer this one. That being said, they're you know, this is, I don't know, this has nostalgic meaning for me also, but this one I think does do a better job, kind of generally. It's also a bit bigger. I'm going to show you what they look like on the shelves as well. So there they are, and that's the Takara Grimlock. And you know, he's much bigger, but I feel like he almost makes Snarl look too small. So I don't know. I think he looks good though. He looks good next to Grimlock, and he looks good with the others. And then there's Scoria with them, and now this is the way I'm having them displayed, so maybe I'm biased, but I feel like I like the Scoria size next to the Snarl. Like I feel like they're more in line, and it looks more appropriate. And then Sludge is a bit bigger. Like I kind of dig that, but it's a subjective thing. I think both of them look good. And there he is next to Tiger Tracks. Final thoughts wise, let me talk to you about the issues. The issues are, for one, this small peg here. Be very careful of that. I have a feeling that could cause an issue for someone if someone was not using caution and care. Secondly, these bits that fold down, due to the rest of the transformation, I can see someone putting tension on those that could cause injury or to the figure. So be careful of that. I wish you had more of an ankle rocker. With the arm articulation, because of the shoulder pads here of the Triceratops head, you can get his arm up, but it's hard to get it out. So that's a bit of a bummer as well. Also, that's him with the red face. I'm not sure it's worth the trouble, but if you do it, make sure you undo the T-Rex head. I mean, the Triceratops head. It opens up here, like right there at that seam. That'll just give you a little bit more leeway in terms of getting access to it. And I'm not sure if the silver face looks better in the end, to be honest. The wrist joints are a little bit loose. Not so much this one, but definitely this one. So be cautious of that. And I feel like it's getting looser. So be aware of that. That is an issue, and that seems to be a widespread issue. And also the back piece that flips in to cover up the back of the Triceratops is a thinner plastic. This piece right here, and if this was a little bit stronger and a little bit more sturdy, I think it's a little bit flexible to help you get around the pieces, which makes sense, but if it was a little bit stronger and a little bit more sturdy, I think you would have an easier time getting it to plug in and stay in. I got mine to work, I'm just saying I think it would work a little bit better when you're in your transformation process. All in all, though, a tremendous effort. You got lots of paint. I would have liked maybe more of a red finish on the chest, but I will take all the paint that they gave us. Lots of chrome. Articulation works for the most part across the board, with the exception of that one outward movement of the shoulder and the ankle rockers. The sculpt is beautiful per usual. The transformation's fairly straightforward and not all that frustrating, with the exception of those two little things that flip down, getting the kind of leverage on those that you need. The materials feel great. I think I and a lot of other people were concerned about the materials because of the cheaper price point. The materials feel great. The hardware feels great. I think it cleans up like a champ. I think the presence is strong, and I definitely recommend it. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Until next time, take care.